I want to welcome everybody to this demonstration. Pastor Ricky Floyd shouldn't have been at the club the night he was killed. I'm going to give everybody a few more minutes to pull up. Let me welcome my Facebook family and friends. Such a sad case. Salute to all my Facebook family and friends that's pulling up by way of Facebook. Let me read my copyright disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. What that means is that everything that you hear in this demonstration is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Now, it's a lot of ways that we can look at this situation with this pastor. There's a lot of ways that we could look at this situation with this pastor. And it just depends on how we perceive things, because everybody got their own way of perceiving things. You got your way, I got my way. Salute to the replay gang. Salute to all my moderators. Salute to the chat. Salute to you, him, and her. Salute Sagittarius. Salute Cotan. Salute Positive Vibes. Now, what was the pastor doing at this event anyway? It's 1 a.m. It's 1 a.m. in the morning. And a man of God, a pastor, is at a nightclub. Now, we all know what goes down in a nightclub. And if you don't know what goes down in a nightclub, drinking definitely is going down. Maybe some street drugs is going down. Some dancing, some partying. Satan is at work. The devil is at his best in the nightclub. So what was the pastor doing at this nightclub 1 a.m. in the morning? That's the $1 million question. During my time, this was unheard of. During my time, pastors, they had an image to uphold. They had an image to uphold because they were a man of God and they were preaching the word. And it was practice what you preach. So now if you're this man of God and you're quoting scriptures out of the Bible, and if you are leading God's people back to salvation and leading God's people in the right way, what are you doing in this nightclub? That's how pastors 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago thought. And I think that was the correct way to think. Because, like I said, we know what goes on in the club. And this is a prime example. This is a prime example what goes on in the club. You're not dealing with men and women that's in their sane mind. I can guarantee y'all this. This would have never took place if the woman that's accused of taking his life, if Samantha Marion was in church, I can guarantee y'all this wouldn't have never happened. Salute, Miss Parker. Salute, Miss Parker. So, men of the cloth, men, men that serve the Lord, and even men that wasn't pastors. You wouldn't catch men that was practicing Christianity. You wouldn't catch men that was practicing Islam. You wouldn't catch a man that was practicing any religion and worshiping any God. You just wouldn't catch them in a club at 1 a.m. in the morning. You might catch them outside the club waiting on a family member to come outside the club. Or you might catch them outside the club and they may be passing out Christian literature, Islamic literature, but you would never catch a man of God inside a church at 1 a.m. in the morning. Now, let's get, for those that are just pulling up and for those that aren't too familiar with the case, let's get a backdrop of what's going on. Salute Nola. Salute Nola. Let's get a backdrop of exactly what took place.
At 5, the mother of Samantha Marion, the woman charged in connection to the shooting death of Pastor Ricky Floyd, is breaking her silence tonight on behalf of her daughter. She didn't want us to show her face, but she does want everyone to know that her heart goes out to the pastor's family, and her heart also breaks for her family to see her daughter behind bars.
Things are calm in this Whitehaven neighborhood where Samantha Marion lives, a far cry from the chaos the night before, miles away here in South Memphis, where the 42-year-old was taken into custody and later charged in connection to the death of Pastor Ricky Floyd. Since being arrested, no one, except for family, has heard from Samantha, so we went to the family home. Samantha's mom answered at the McPherson Road home she shares with her daughter. Although a bit hesitant, she eventually opened the front door before opening up about the one moment that forever changed the lives of many.
I'm sorry that there has been a death. I'm sorry for the family.
While also voicing concerns for her child.
This is not my daughter's character. And she was defending herself and maybe in her mind was defending the two friends she was with.
According to a police affidavit, Pastor Floyd became, quote, irate and aggressive towards all three. Her friends seen here embraced her. As one told detectives, she tried getting between Floyd and Samantha when it's alleged the pastor began walking towards the woman who would later allegedly fire that single fatal round.
Anybody in any situation, when you become afraid, you become afraid. And fear, will drive you to that. And she had to be awfully scared.
Samantha's mom, who was visibly upset, then lowered her head while putting her hand over her heart before delivering a message to her daughter, who she tells us is currently on suicide watch in jail.
Now, I'm going to just stop it right there, all right? Now, let's look at the suspect. Let's look at the suspect, Samantha Marion. She has been arrested in connection to the pastor's unaliving. They're charging her with voluntary manslaughter. Now, according to the witness, and these were witnesses that came to the club with Samantha, they're her friends. They say that the pastor aggressively came at Samantha, right? Okay, now after the altercation took place between the pastor and Samantha. The pastor walked away. As he walked away, Samantha banged him up. All right. Now, let's look at the facts. The facts is this. She was not in any danger. Why? He turned away from her. His back was turned towards her. And y'all know how I feel. And y'all know I always say, I don't promote violence. I don't believe in taking nobody's life. But if somebody is lunging at you, if somebody is swinging a weapon at you, if somebody is coming towards you, and you feel as though your life is in danger, handle your business. However, if the individual is turned with their back towards you, you ain't in fear of your life. You ain't in fear of your life. So, in my opinion, I don't think that it caused for the pastor to lose his life. Let's start there. I think that this should not be a voluntary manslaughter charge. I think that this should be at least a second-degree unaliving. That's where I'm at. I think this should be a second-degree unaliving. I think that she knew exactly what she was doing. And as I stated earlier, this is when the devil is at his best. She was intoxicated. We all know what a little liquor is going to do to you. I can speak from experience. If I'm in a sober mind, I'm chill, I'm relaxed, I'm cool. You got to do a lot to provoke me. You got to do a lot before I get on one. Now, when I got some liquor up in me, I'm ready to go. Meaning, the littlest thing a person says to me, the littlest thing a person does to me, I'm ready to go and get down for the get down. That's one of the main reasons I don't drink no more. I ain't drinking in a long time. Salute to the chat. Salute Kalila. Salute Blended Hill. And I see y'all. Salute to the chat, Ms. Parker. I see y'all. So with the pastor, now I'm going to be, because I've done a little research. I didn't do a whole lot of research, but I've done a little research because I don't like to jump to conclusions. At first, it does seem like the pastor was out of pocket. It does seem like that this pastor was out of pocket. It's 1 a.m. in the morning. He in the club. He approaching this female. A lot of people in the very beginning of this story, a lot of people felt as though that this was his side chick. But there are those that claim that they never even met before. So I said, let me do a little homework. Let me do a little research on this pastor. And I found some video clips of the pastor. Give me a minute to upload those clips, and I'll share with you all those clips. And it's very interesting because, to me, it tells us why the pastor was at that club, why the pastor was in this club at 1 a.m. in the morning. Now, according to witnesses, according to the affidavit, the pastor was arguing, yelling. He grabbed her phone. He threw her phone down. All right, let's build off of that. Why did the pastor grab her phone? Some people feel as though because Samantha and maybe her friends were recording him. I'm not too sure if they're saying Samantha was recording him or one of the friends she was there with was recording him. However, they're saying that they were recording the pastor. The pastor got upset, got angry. Hey, look, don't be recording me. I get that part. He's a pastor. He's at this club 1 a.m. in the morning. He don't want the wrong image of him to be put out there. And then secondly, I mean, this is right. He ain't got to have, he ain't got to agree for people to record him. A lot of people is not into the whole social media and how the social media works. At times, I wouldn't want you recording me. Now, at other times, I'll be like, green light, record me, make sure you get my good side. Wait a minute, give me a second so I can think of what I'm going to say. I got to get ready for the camera, so just hold on. But then at other times, I don't want to be on camera, period. So we got to take that in consideration also. The pastor didn't want to be recorded. Now let's go deep down the rabbit hole as far as a pastor being in a nightclub at 1 a.m. in the morning. Could it have been Samantha is his side chick? Could it have been he tried to holler at Samantha? Because my thing is this now. What sparked the conversation? The initiative of the conversation. Like I said, it's being said that she or one of the friends was recording him. He didn't want them recording him. So, he got upset. He got aggressive with him. Now we got to come back to he's a pastor. He's a man of God. Would a man of God be that easily provoked to anger? Now, I want to look at both sides. I want to look at both sides of this. I want to look at the negative side. I want to look at the positive side. I don't want to pass judgment on the pastor, but at the same time, I don't want to give him a pass. Right is right and wrong is wrong. If the pastor is wrong, he's wrong. But I want to make sure that we got a clear understanding on why the pastor was wrong. I want to make sure we got a clear understanding on why the suspect, Samantha Marion, was wrong. Somebody was wrong in this situation. I know a lot of people believe there's three sides of every story. There's this person's side, there's that person's side, and then there's the truth. I believe that there's only two sides of a story. Somebody was right, somebody was wrong. Or maybe it was a misunderstanding. So we're going to be chopping it up to see who was right, who was wrong, or could it have just been a misunderstanding. So that's what we're here for in this demonstration, to find out who was right, who was wrong, or could it have been a misunderstanding.
Is to continue to have faith in God and know that we love her and we're praying for her.
Is faith those who knew Pastor Floyd are also leaning on.
We just gotta stay in prayer for each other, watch, as scripture says, as well as pray.
Samantha's mother telling us, of course, she understands the pastor's family is grieving. She's grieving as well. She went on to tell us she's hopeful her daughter will be able to return to the community she's called home her entire life sooner rather than later. Reporting for your news leader, Jarita Patterson, WREG, News Channel 3.
Now, give me a minute, everyone, because I do want to find the clip. So y'all just bear with me for a second. I want to find an actual clip of the pastor. So everybody, just bear with me for a second while I get this clip. I'm coming, everybody. I'm coming. Kalila says they had to be messing around and she must told him she was going to the club. Somehow he got mad and this pastor went to this club at 1 in the morning to see she was in there. He didn't want her there. That's a good point. That's a good point. Salute, Leslie. Salute to the chat. Salute, Leslie. How many of y'all agree with Kalila? How many of y'all agree with Kalila? They had to have been messing around. Salute Anna B. Anna B says he shouldn't have been there. While going to the club isn't wrong, his title made it inappropriate. Being exposed likely triggered him to act out and prompted her. Sadie says, I ain't judging. Bruh, ain't no way the pastor was there to preach or win souls for Christ. Obviously, he was there to have fun or something. How many of y'all agree? All valid points. In my opinion, all valid points. And I don't know if y'all heard what I said, but let me just read it back. Kalila says they had to be messing around and she must told him she was going to the club. Somehow he got mad. And this pastor went to this club at 1 in the morning to see she was in there. He didn't want her. Salute, Leslie. Anna B says, hi, he shouldn't have been there. While going to the club isn't wrong, his title made it inappropriate. Being exposed likely triggered him to act out and prompted her. Sadie says, I ain't judging. Bruh, ain't no way the pastor was there to preach or win souls for Christ. Obviously, he was there to have fun or something. Leslie says they was messing around because he did throw her phone. All right, let's get to the clips that I was making reference to, y'all. Give me 1 second. Come. Such a sad, like I said, a sad case, y'all. It really is. Sad case, y'all. Sad case. I'm coming, y'all. All right, y'all. Let me run this clip because many of y'all believe that he shouldn't have been there. He shouldn't have been there. That's the $1 million question. Why was he there? And then also, he shouldn't have been there. Sadie says, you can't win souls. That's not the way to win souls. Now, let me run the clip, y'all. Now, this is an old clip. This was an old clip of him. I believe he did this 9 years ago. So this is old clip, but let's listen to what he got to say. Let's listen to what he got to say.
Hey, it's 2:20 in the morning, and the Lord told me to get up and go to Deuce's nightclub and pray. It was exactly a week ago that one of my young brothers at the church, man, his life was taken in this parking lot right here. So the Lord wanted me to get up and pray, and then, man, I went inside the club. And, man, all I got to say is, brothers, hey, we got a lot of work to do. And man, we got to lay down these egos, this control issues, this low self-esteem issues. I'm talking to brothers, man. I ain't talking to government. I ain't talking to politicians. I ain't talking to the suburban church.
Now, let me just stop it right there. Because now this was an incident that happened, I believe it was 9 years ago at a club. Now, that club is Deuces, not the same club, but a church member was, shot at that club, unalived at that club. So now the pastor goes there. He's praying. He's trying to figure out a way to stop this. Now he's going to get into a speech about how we have to do better. But how many of y'all believe the pastor at what he said so far? Kalila says, right, all that extra ish he threw on her phone sounds like they was messing around. If he didn't know her, why he did that. And that's where I'm at, because even if they were recording him, and even if he asked them not to record him, and even if they continue to record him, he's a pastor. His anger shouldn't have been provoked that easily. Okay, y'all want to record me after I ask y'all not to record me? Fine. Well, let me just say a few words. That's would have been, in my opinion, that would have been the most civilized way to go about it. Hey, listen, I asked these young ladies, I asked these people not to record me. They're recording me. And the reason why I didn't want them to record me was because I am a pastor and I don't want the wrong image of me getting out there. So let me just explain to you all why I'm here in the club at 1 a.m. in the morning. I'm here in the club at 1 a.m. in the morning because I'm trying to save some souls. I'm trying to lead God's people back to salvation. Everybody in the community knows me. I'm a well-known pastor because there were plenty of people that spoke on his behalf and spoke up for him. He's a pastor. That's like me as a content creator. As much as people come in here and troll me, as much of the things that I go through, I still have to be professional. Now, at times, and it hasn't happened to me in a while, because, I can deal with it better now, but at times, I would be provoked to my anger, but I'm not in that position as a pastor. A content creator and a pastor, they hold two different responsibilities. Now, if I'm a pastor, and this is why I tell people, even pastors, if you're not ready for a particular position, don't accept that position. Me, at this time, I know the word of God, and I'm into saving people's souls and lives. But me as a person, I know a pastor, a preacher, I know that that's far out of my range, because I know I'm not all the way there. It's not so much of your position. It's not so much of what comes out your mouth. It's your character that says everything. Salute, Zilla. Leslie says, we can't let our good be evil spoken of. Salute, Nisha. Salute. James says, the Lord also gives you common sense too. Exactly. Khalil says, right, Shank. James says, the Lord also gives you common sense. Shaking my head, no business in that club. Sajid says, he said God spoke to him to go to the club and play. But that was a previous event, Sajid. Wait, for those who have heard the voice of God before, how does he sound like? And how do you differentiate between God's voice and random thoughts? And that's where I think I need to do a demonstration on that, y'all. Sajid, you are so wise. How do we tell the difference between God's voice and a random thought? You'll hear so many people say, God spoke to me last night. But was it really God speaking to you? Or could it just have been a random thought of yours? Excellent wisdom, Sages. But let me go back to the full clip of the pastor, y'all. I didn't mean to cut anybody off. Salute, Lisa. Salute, Lisa. Kalila says, I feel like if he go preach at that club, he shouldn't went in there. He should stay outside and preach outside the club with a speaker. And that's what preachers do. That's what pastors do. Like I said, Islamic people, Christian, Jehovah's Witnesses, whatever religious faith you belong to, normally they are outside of the club. They're not inside. They're outside of the club. But let's get back to, and I'll let his whole video play this time.
Hey, it's 2:20 in the morning, and the Lord told me to get up and man, go to Deuces nightclub and pray. It was exactly a week ago that one of my young brothers at the church, man, his life was taken in this parking lot right here. So the Lord wanted me to get up and pray, and then, man, I went inside the club. And, man, all I got to say is, brothers, hey, we got a lot of work to do. And, man, we got to lay down these egos, this control issues, this low self-esteem issues. I'm talking to brothers, man. I ain't talking to government. I ain't talking to politicians. I ain't talking to the suburban church. I ain't talking to people with grants. I'm talking to brothers. We got to work out. I ain't even talking to the sisters right now. Brothers, we got to work out our own salvation, man. Man, I talked to the security guard on what happened. This brother really was trying to be a peacemaker, trying to break up a fight, man, trying to cause peace to come, and the peacemaker died. Then, man, I went on the inside of the club. Yep, pastor went inside the club. I need to see the heart post of what's going on with our people, man. And I tell you, it was really, man, it blows my mind. People said, brothers won't come to church, brothers won't praise. Hey, them brothers was praising in there. And it was mind-blowing. It was 80% men, and maybe even 85% men in the club. What did I learn from that? That brothers will go. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. They will stay a long time. We got to find a way to connect with these brothers that are lost, man. Hey, we got work to do. We got work to do. You can't, we got to stop worrying about money. We got to stop worrying about titles. We got to stop worrying about egos. Man, if we don't save our own race, slavery is going to happen again. Slavery is en route. Matter of fact, it's already existing, and we need to, we need to set our people free, man. And we need to do it now. And we need to do it quickly. I'm going to pray that the Lord gives me a strategy, man, so that we can come up. And this ain't no monkey suit shine show.
What are your thoughts? Now, this was a previous video from 9 years ago. Salute, Joker. Appreciate you for pulling up. Joker says facts. Salute, Porsche. Salute, Porsche. Leslie says the words say when we are tempted, don't say we are not tempted by the Lord. The word say my sheep knows my voice and they follow me. So, like I said, that was a earlier video of him about 9 years ago. And he mentioned he wanted to see the hearts of the people. James says, Shank, it's in calming that comes over you when God speaks to you. A calming voice, you have to have a strong relationship with the Lord. Now, most of everybody agrees that the pastor shouldn't have been at that club. That's what most of us believe. Joker says slavery will never happen again. It's a mindset too. Like the Bible say, when I was a child, I thought as a child. When I became a man, I think like a man. I believe you, Joker. I feel that, Joker. I feel that. So after hearing this video from the pastor, are we able to see the pastor's point of view on why he may have been at the club? Now remember, y'all, that video was years ago. Could that have been in his mind? Could that have been his assignment? Okay, I'm going to go to the clubs and I'm going to be in the clubs with the people. I mean, we do know that TD Jakes attended a lot of Baby Oil Man's white parties. Why was TD Jakes at some of those Baby Oil's white parties, all white parties? Even though most of us during our time, pastors and preachers wasn't going to no clubs. New day and time. How many of y'all remember Kirk Franklin? Y'all remember Kirk Franklin mixed gospel with hip hop. And I remember people gave Kirk Franklin, Kirk Franklin caught so much clapback from him mixing gospel with hip hop. I mean, church folks, the average person back then, we understood it. Like I understood the message and what Kirk Franklin was doing by mixing gospel with hip hop. A lot of us understood it, but a lot of church folks was not happy with Kirk Franklin for mixing gospel with hip hop. But Kirk Franklin's message was the same. I'm not interested in staying in the church. I'm not interested in the people that's in the church. This Kirk Franklin, that I have to go after those that are lost. I have to go after those that are in the world. And hip hop, the hip hoppers, the rappers, the artists, the listeners, we were considered people of the world. So Kirk Franklin's message was to gather the gospel and mix it with hip hop. And he made some nice records. Salute Love Helping. Love Helping says, now, if God told him to go to the club, I would have told God, show me some signs. People sometimes let their mind be some words from God. I agree. Joker says facts. Kalila says, okay, if this video happened 9 years ago, why he didn't work on this every weekend, going to that club and preach outside that club, but he went inside of that club. And I'm going to come back to you right in a minute. Let me read Joker. Joker says Kirk Franklin was able to reach more people by him being able to relate to God's people. Exactly, Joker. Now, is that what we're dealing with Pastor Ricky Floyd? And by the way, prayers to the family of Pastor Ricky Floyd. Pray to his wife, pray to his family. Throw some prayer hands up for the pastor that lost his life. Now, why was you really at that club? That's what everybody want to know. What was you really doing at that club? Why did you go after that phone? Why did the pastor allegedly, because we all know it's all allegedly now, we're only going by what the associates, we're only going by what the suspect, we're going by their version. Pastor's not here to give his version. And let's be honest, there's two sides of every story. Even if you're like me and don't believe that there's three sides, a lot of people believe it's three sides. But regardless of what, we know that we heard one side of the story, and that's coming from the suspect in her friends, but we don't know that other side. We don't know the other side. We really don't know why he was at that club. He got a wife. Now, this is how I looked at it. This is how I looked at it. You are a married man. You are a married man. At 1 a.m., at 1 a.m. in the morning, you belong home in bed with your wife, or you belong at home with your wife at 1 a.m. in the morning. You got a wife. A wife is different from a girlfriend. A wife is different from a baby mother. A wife is different from a side piece. A wife is just what it says. A wife. That's your wife. You gave your life. You gave your life to your wife, vice versa. When you are married, you stood before God, or you may have went to the justice of peace, the judge, however it may be. Vows were given, however it may be. It's documented that this is your wife. It's documented that this is your husband. I say the same thing for women that's married. A married woman, whether she's in the church or not, whether she's practicing Islam, whether she's a child of God or not, she could be an atheist. She could have no belief in God. She could believe there is no God. However, a married woman at 1 a.m. in the morning do not belong in anybody's club. At 1 a.m. in the morning, no pastor belongs inside of anyone's club. 2, at 1 a.m. in the morning, no pastor belongs in anybody's club arguing with a woman. Because if you are a pastor, for surely, you know the mind frame of this Miss Samantha Marion. Now, was she drunk? Was she intoxicated? However it go down the turnpike, you are a pastor and you're dealing with a woman inside of a club that most church folks would say a woman that's not saved. No pastor should be arguing with any woman, whether she's a saint or whether she's a sinner. So in my opinion, he shouldn't have been arguing with the woman if that's what really happened. He shouldn't have grabbed her phone. They say he threw her phone down. But here's what gets me. He turns around. He's walking away from the woman. No woman, no man, nobody, period, even the police, has a right to shoot anybody with their back turned towards them. She was definitely wrong. Now, I'm not sure what sparked it, what popped it off. So, in my opinion, they both were wrong. They both were wrong, in my opinion. But let's dig a little deeper and see what other people is saying about the situation, y'all. Let's dig a little deeper.
Shock and sadness throughout the Memphis community this noon after a shooting at a South Memphis bar leaves a well-known Memphis pastor dead. Thank you for choosing your news leader at noon. I'm Zanetta Lowe.
And I'm Todd Demers. The victim has been identified as Pastor Ricky Floyd by Memphis police. He was the pastor at the Pursuit of God Church in Frazier, who your news leader spoke with several times over the years about his faith and work in the community.
That's right. We have Team 3 coverage throughout the day about the killing of Pastor Floyd, starting with Raven Copeland, who's live right now outside the pastor's church. And Raven, I see that parking lot full. Church members have been gathering there throughout the morning.
Good afternoon, Zanetta and Todd. That's right. I've seen several clergy members comforting each other and just grieving over this unimaginable loss. Now, as you mentioned, Memphis police say Pastor Floyd was shot a little after 1 a.m. outside of Mama's Bar and Kitchen in South Memphis. Now, according to investigators, the pastor and the suspect, Samantha Marion, argued before the deadly shooting. Marion is now charged with voluntary manslaughter. As we work to find out more information from police, the city of Memphis and Pastor Floyd's congregation are mourning. The pastor was known for his dedication to helping youth. He also advocated against gun violence in the city. Pursuit of God Church released a statement that says in part, quote, his unwavering dedication to our community and his profound impact on the lives of those he touched will be remembered and cherished. Mayor Paul Young also shared his condolences, saying, quote, his death is more than a loss for his family and the congregation. It is a loss for Memphis. Now, our Team 3 coverage continues all afternoon. We'll bring you more reaction from the city and the church. Reporting live in Frasier, Furger News leader Raven Copeland, WREG News Channel 3.
Okay, Raven, thank you very much. And coming up on News Channel 3 at 3, our Alex Coleman will sit down one-on-one with County Commissioner Charlie Caswell, a dear friend of Pastor Floyd's, to talk more about the life that he leaves behind.
Todd, thank you. And our Team 3 coverage continues this noon. Joining me right now with more on the life and legacy of Pastor Ricky Floyd is Dr. Keith Norman, who's pastor of First Baptist Broad. Pastor Norman, thank you so much for being with us as you are with our community during difficult times. And this is another one. Certainly hard to hear that someone who talked so much about getting folks out of gun violence and mentoring young people and young men has now become a victim himself to gun violence.
Yes. First of all, our condolences go out to his family and, of course, to his church family, and then to the broader Frasier community. Ricky was a well-beloved person, and especially among his clergy colleagues as well. Many of them have reached out this morning, and my prayers go out to them as well, because men and women who do great work in this city are often, unfortunately, a part of what happens to everyone else. And so our prayers go out to his wife, to his children, his grandchildren, people whom he loved and very, very proud of. He was always very proud of his family.
So as y'all can hear, good words are being spoken about this pastor. Salute, Perk. Salute, Perk. Appreciate you for pulling up. Now, I'm going to ask y'all this question. Are we at a point in society, are we at a point in time when those that are doing God's work, when those that are doing right by the community, when those that are on the positive side of things, is it time for us to hang it up and go on about our business? I want to ask y'all that. How do y'all feel? Because lately, a lot of those that are doing God's work, a lot of those that are doing right by the people have been losing their lives by the people. Love Helping Out says, okay, advocating and helping youth against gun violence. But at the club at 1 a.m. in the morning, well, I'm still thinking, how far do God proceed? How far do God gives one direction to go to strange places? I'm in agreement. But is it time? Is it time for us that are trying to make a change? Is it time for us to hang it up? Let these fools, let these idiots, let them stay where they're at. James says his problems are gone. Hers just started. Shaking my head. saying that's going to play out in her head for the rest of her life. Yes, yes. But is it time? How do y'all feel? Is it time for us that's trying to do right? Is it time for us to move on, hang it up, let the idiots and fools, let them say themselves? The Nethia says, Pastor pulled a DJ move like at Electric Tequila, snatching the phone from her. Just maybe he did not want that bad image. The news said he did not know her. That is definitely a scripture. And that's where I'm at as far as him snatching the phone. Maybe it was because of his image. Maybe he felt like, look, I don't want my image out there like that.
Absolutely.
So certainly our prayers are with them. This is something that shocks our city. It devastates us at a moment and a time in which we are really facing an unprecedented precipice in our city. The mayor has given his comments, and many clergy around the city are already commenting. And we are just wanting to galvanize around this particular moment to highlight the work that he has done. This is a man who is better known for his work in the community probably than for his work from the pulpit. I mean,
and let me stop right there. And y'all know I'm big on the work that an individual puts in, because none of us are perfect and we all make mistakes. But what does your work? Show me your body of work. And he has a strong resume when it comes to putting in work in the community. As my man right here says, his work wasn't in the pulpit. Like most pastors, all they do is speak from that pulpit. Most pastors are really not in the community putting in any kind of work. But Pastor Ricky Floyd has a strong resume of work in the community.
And you talked about that. You all had known each other almost 2 decades.
Almost 2 decades.
And so many pastors are known for what happens inside the four walls of the church.
Right.
Here he is, a survivor.
Right.
He survived gun violence.
Right.
He's spoken to us and was shot after that on a day he was interviewed, survived a carjacking.
Right. Not afraid.
Not afraid.
No, he was always willing to be innovative and creative towards his approach to ministry. A very enterprising person as well. He saw blight in his community and chose to transform it into freestanding areas and opportunities where people could engage and get job skills or get the necessary help that they could use to move forward in life. He would often tell me, because he'd tell me, and he had the funniest sense of humor. He'd pay me a compliment and say, "It's a nice jacket you have on. You should give it to my clothes closet so we can give it to someone else."
So
let me stop right there, y'all. Salute, Marty. Salute. Let me stop right there. Now, and for me, I have a big problem with those pastors that stay in that pulpit and don't put in any kind of work. However, I take my hat off for the pastors that do put work in. Salute, it ain't rocket science. Salute, it ain't rocket science. So I got to give this pastor, Pastor Ricky Floyd, I got to give him his flowers, because I'm hearing he actually put work in the community. But why was he in that club at 1 a.m. in the morning? What was the altercation really about? Why did he snatch the phone? Allegedly, because it's all allegedly right now. But shout out to all pastors. Shout out to all of the preachers. Shout out to all of the men and women of the cloth that actually puts work in the community. I'm big on your work. I ain't too concerned about what you say out your mouth. I'm really big on your work. So shout out to Pastor Ricky Floyd for his work. And also, we just learned he was a victim. This isn't the first time that he fell short as a victim. He has been the victim multiple times, and he didn't let it stop him. To me, that says a lot about this man. He was active in the community, and even after falling victim several times, he still hung in there, and he still advocated, and he still got out and walked with the people. Salute, my boo. Salute.
So we can pass it on.
He could pass it on. He was always thinking about other people.
I love that. The mayor actually calling him a servant of our city.
Certainly.
We were talking about getting through difficult times. You know, police are just starting their investigation.
Right.
Very early into it. We have the few facts that Raven presented. Mm-hmm. But as someone who is used to helping people navigate sometimes the most difficult points in their lives, what do you say to people? And we are not here to speculate or to do any of that, because we have to let police conduct their investigation. Mm-hmm. We have a victim and his family. But for folks out there, whether they be in his congregation or in the community, or folks that are looking for answers, searching for some solace, but having trouble reconciling maybe the early details. It's 1 a.m., the location. Mm-hmm. As someone who has conversations with families who go through things, what do you say to them?
I tell people not to major in minor details and not to major in minor things. What is important here is that a great man, a person who sought to serve God, his family, and his community, has lost his life in a very violent and tragic manner. Many people will ask questions like, what is the cause of death? The only legitimate cause of death is life. When we have lived our life before humanity in such a way where we tried to serve others. The scripture will remind us often that it's the things that we have done to impact others that God will look at in our life, and he will hold us accountable for in many different ways. And so we can get lost in details, locations, and times, but then there, but for the grace of God, go all of us. I mean, you know, you can stop and get gas on your way home on a trip, and it could be 1 o'clock in the morning. When you need gas, you just need gas. And if someone takes your life, then the speculation goes forth. I think we should stay away from those things. It's not healthy. It doesn't bring about anything good. And then it overshadows the great work that this person has done and the wonderful legacy that he is building and has built to impact the lives of others.
I will agree with him. How many of y'all agree? I agree with that. Let's not get caught up on, even though we want to know what he was doing at that club 1 a.m. in the morning. I want to know. You know, that's part of my job, to find out why he was there. But with the body of work that he has, we don't want to let that overshadow his accomplishments and what he has done for the community.
Speaking of that, as his family, as his community, his churches, as everyone tries to move forward, and you talked about it, we're at a precipice, right? Our community needs change and healing, and we need it and deserve it right now. How do we best honor his life and legacy?
Well, first of all, I think one of the things we can do is remember the work that he's done and make sure that that legacy of work still stands up. There'll be many people around him who are connected to him, and this work must continue because it was already impacting lives. And so we want that work to stand. There will be opportunities for us to galvanize ideas and thoughts as to how we solidify that work and make sure that it stands going forward. And then we must press back on any form of violence that takes place in our city. People have to learn how to resolve conflict and issues without resorting to violence. And then we have to move it even further. We have to have some form of gun control. Ricky was an advocate for that. He was a part of CLURB at one point. I think he actually led that effort. Yes. And so we should also think about that. How do we continue to say we have too many guns in our community and we resort to those guns as methods for resolving issues? And that's not the way. We have to have skills. We have to have ways of de-escalating problems. And we have to talk about how to problem solve without it being in ways of violence.
A lot of conversation and certainly prayer and thoughts for his family and the community, but a lot to move forward and to, again, honor his life and legacy.
Certainly a lot to move forward. He was at meetings just on yesterday talking about improving the city of Memphis, the community of Frazier. Frazier's lost a hero, Memphis has lost a hero, and certainly his family has lost a great guide and a light.
I'm going to take a few comments from the chat, and then we're going to get out of here. Is it time? Is it time for God's people? Is it time for us that are here to make a change in our community? Is it time for us to say to hell with making a change, to hell with the community, pack up our bags, move forward, and don't look back? Is it time? We all going to the club on Ho's memory, get crunk, get wild, y'all. Benithia says, Marty, it is an eatery, but 1 a.m., what was he asking people? You gonna eat your cornbread? This is a hard one, and more evidence is needed in order not to be judgmental. Leave your wife and go to the club. And that's where we're at, everybody. You got a wife at home. 1 a.m., you're in the club. Okay, you was in there to get some food. All right, understandable. What sparked the issue between Pastor Ricky Floyd and Miss Samantha Marion? What sparked it? Allegedly, they were recording him. Allegedly. He got aggressive, took the phone. Me personally, and this is just my opinion, so it's not facts. But me personally, I don't think that the pastor would have reacted off of them recording him. See, this is what's going on. Salute Eula's sister. Salute Eula's sister. Once again, there's two sides to this story. All right? There's two sides to this story. We're only getting one side. Now let's do the math. Let's do the math. My man, he's a pastor, right? He's in the club at 1 a.m. in the morning, but he's known for his work. He's known for his work. His work is promoting positivity. His work is cleaning up the community. That's his work. We hear the people speak on his work. Now he's in the club at 1 a.m. in the morning. Possibility, he's in that club doing his work. Now, old girl and them, they drunk, they on one. They feeling themselves. They recording pastor, right? Now, pastor says to them to stop recording me, right? They continues to record pastor. Well, that right there, they're wrong. They're wrong. Pastor ain't wrong. Pastor ain't wrong. They're wrong. Why are they wrong, Shank Rock? Because my man told them, stop recording me. They continue to record him. So they're wrong. Okay. He gets on them aggressively. He snatches the phone. He throws the phone down. Please tell me, what was they saying? What was they saying to my man? Right? You talk like me, it ain't rocket scientist. You talk like me, it ain't rocket scientist. For everybody that knows how I talk, listen to what it ain't rocket scientist. Science says. He could be up in there trying to save someone from their funky ass lifestyle. You're right up my alley. And that's true. He could have been trying to save the very ones that took his life. He could have been trying to save her funky ass lifestyle. Marty says, I wonder if that place has security cameras. Salute top flight, salute top flight. But they was wrong. She was wrong that we know of 2 times. She was wrong by continuing to record him. She was wrong by shooting a defenseless man with his back turned towards her in the back. She was wrong. What did they say to the pastor? So you mean to tell me y'all didn't say nothing? The mere fact that the suspect, Samantha Marion, the mere fact that she banged on him, she hit him up in the back. The mere fact that she did that lets me know she's with it. She's bout it. So what type of female? Now let's focus in on the suspect. Let's focus in on the suspect. Now, Mom Dukes, that's Mom Dukes. Regardless of how evil, regardless of how bad we become, Mom Dukes, she ain't going to put it out there. Mom Dukes going to always have your back. Mom Dukes says that, you know, it must have been self-defense. But y'all. Eula's sister says they've been on some skank stuff. Right. Been around these type of women. These are the type of women that's bout it. These are the type of women that as men, we run across that will tell you, I just need a man that can handle me. Shank Rock in his younger days, I'm a rock with that woman like that. But learning by dealing with them type women, that's going to be the outcome by dealing with those kind of women. You're going to either end up in prison, you're going to either end up dead, or she even going to end up in prison. That's a bout it female. She's with it. That's a hitter. And in my opinion, I don't think that's the first time she banged somebody up. Because if it was that easy to whip out and bang them up, let's be honest. Why did she have the blicky? Why did she have the blicky on her in the club in the first place? See? So for me, I question their side of the story. Yeah, they gonna ride for her. He ain't no longer here to be able to dispute it. So yeah, they gonna ride for her. If I'm in the club and one of my peoples bangs somebody up, I'm gonna ride with my people. So their account of what happened is suspect. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it that man, because the picture that they're trying to paint of the pastor, they're trying to shift everything on the pastor. They're trying to blame it on his anger. He got aggressive with us. And we are women. I ain't buying that. Then dealt with too many women to buy that. By the time the story get back to Shankrock is Adolf Hitler, or Shankrock is a Jeffrey Dahmer. Yeah, Shank, you know, yeah, because she said you did this, and she said, and I'm sitting up here like, my man, do you really know the whole side of the story? I done had dudes approach me behind a female, lying on me. Right now, it's females lying on me. And when it come back to me, I'll be like, God damn, how the hell did they get that out of me simply saying I don't fuck with you no more. I don't rock with you no more. That's all I said. And in most cases, I ain't even say nothing. I just distanced myself. I just cut myself off from the funky ass broad. So I'm aware of situations like this, and I'm sure many of y'all are aware of it as well. Women will lie on your ass to save their funky ass. I'm not buying the story that they are putting out there. I'm with everybody. Why was the pastor at the club at 1 a.m. in the morning? I'm with y'all on that. He got a wife at home. So I'm with y'all on that. That's the only thing when it comes to the pastor that I'm with y'all on. Outside of that, I don't believe that this pastor acted. I don't believe that this pastor acted in a way that should have caused him to lose his life. She never said that the pastor hit him. She never said that the pastor poured out a blicky on her. She never mentioned it. They never mentioned nothing about that. Only thing that they said about the pastor was he came at him aggressively. That don't warrant the pastor to lose his life. It don't. James says usually clubs check for weapons. Exactly. How she get it in there? See what I'm saying? Eula's sister says MB2 clickerish. Love helping out, says Shank. Her side of the story got to be heard and still will put people at a thinking, like you said, he's not here to tell his side. He's not. Marty says, Shank, regardless if he's a pastor or not, the law says you can only meet force with the same force. She hit him in the back, which means he was walking away. And that's what me and you agree. Marty, I'm with you. I'm with you. She hit that man in the back. That tells me that ain't her first time banging him up. My bad. That ain't her first time banging somebody up. That ain't her first time using that blicky. That ain't her first time using that weapon. She knew what she was doing. Now, was her and the pastor, were they involved in a relationship? Now, I'll entertain that. But the entertain that they were recording him, he got mad and then he got aggressive with them. I ain't buying that. Porsche says, plus people like to add, subtract, multiply, and divide facts of a story so it can get all messed up very quickly. Facts. And that's where I'm at with it, y'all. That's where I'm at. We only got one side. Even if you believe that there's three sides, we only got one side. Another side we'll never get. We'll never get the pastor's side. So we only got one side. And the side that we get is suspect. It's suspect. It's suspect. My man didn't deserve to lose his life. He didn't. Well, Shank, you know, when God calls you home and when it's your time, it ain't nothing that you can do to stop that. If that's your belief, that's your belief. However, my man didn't deserve to die. My man didn't deserve to die. So even if it was his time, my man didn't deserve to die. Well, let me backtrack. Even if it wasn't his time, it wasn't her place. It wasn't her place to end his life. Well, you know, Shank Rock, everything that happens is by the will of God. Yeah, but we also know that the devil has his hand in the mix also. And I'm not here to knock nobody from their beliefs. Your belief is your belief. But let's look at it for what it is. Let's take God out of the equation. Let's take the devil out of the equation. Let's keep Samantha Marion on the table. Let's just keep her on the table. She had no right taking this man's life. She had no right taking this man's life. If this man done something to you, there are different ways that you could have handled it. They never mentioned that he pulled the weapon out. They never mentioned he came forcefully at her, he grabbed her, he slammed her down. All they said was he came aggressively towards her. He snatched the phone, he threw the phone at her. He walked away. And then she banged him up. I really appreciate everybody for pulling up. If anybody has any more information on this case, like what was the pastor doing at the club at 1 a.m. in the morning, please send it to me on Instagram. My Instagram is Shank Rock. And as I gather more information, I will bring that information to you all. But I'm like everybody else. Why was the pastor at the club at 1 a.m. in the morning? Salute everybody. I'll leave the chat running and y'all can hang around. Salute.
I'd like to place an order. Yeah. Hey, let me get a chicken box and a half a half. All right, good looking out. I'd like to place an order. Yeah. Hey, let me get a chicken box and a half a half. All right, good looking out.
A chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes.
I'm switching lane.
A chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes.
When I'm switching lane.
A chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes.
When I'm switching lane.
A chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes.
When I'm switching lane.
A chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes.
When I'm switching lane.
A chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes.
But before we get started with this demonstration, let me read my copyright.
Younger females like older men. So my smoothie is going to consist of
When I'm switching lane.
a chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes.
When I'm switching lane.
A chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes.